Over the weekend, the Trump administration explicitly linked in writing its use of force in Minnesota to its various other policy goals, like forcing Minnesota to hand over its voter rolls. The Trump administration is making a similar demand of Colorado. Democratic Secretary of State Jena Griswold has refused to turn over that information, and she told our Marshall Zellinger today that no threat of force from the feds would change her mind.
So we are going to continue to just hold the line in our little way to make sure we're protecting Coloradans' voter information, social security numbers, and driver's license numbers.
Is there any threat of force or actual force, like ICE coming to Colorado, that would get you to share voter information or get behind an effort to get rid of mail-in ballots?
No. Mail ballots are how we vote in Colorado. They are safe and secure.
Let's say there was a disruption with the Postal Service. How do you do a mail-in ballot election? How do you, it requires me to get it in the first place. Returning it, we could drop it off in a ballot box that doesn't require the Postal Service. But what's a contingency for me even getting it in the first place?
Oh, well, Marshall, like I said, we've been actively preparing and updating all of our contingencies with many key partners.
In our brief chat, Democratic Secretary of State Jena Griswold would not give me specifics for how the state could hold a mail-in election if there was federal interference. She would only say who's in the room talking about the options.
We are working with partners, including the governor's office and the attorney general's office, on an array of contingencies. Some of them are litigation, some of them are legislative, and I will definitely continue this conversation with you, but I cannot go into specifics on contingencies that are actively being worked on.
Griswold mentioned the governor's office and the attorney general's office. She did not mention the National Guard, which normally provides cybersecurity assistance during elections. The National Guard could perhaps be federalized and answer to President Trump. Griswold would only say her office has taken that into account with a contingency. I get not wanting to give up your backup plan, Kyle, but it'd be great to know how the state would run a mail-in ballot election if the mail service is disrupted.
Because, I mean, you certainly could imagine a scenario in which President Trump, who's been willing to push the limits of executive power, says, I don't like Colorado's mail-in ballots, so Postal Service, don't deliver any mail-in ballots.
Right, and there's no amount of state law, or I guess litigation perhaps, but no state law that could be passed in this legislative session would force that to happen. And so that's where we hear, hey, we're going to pass laws that insulate Colorado or we'll sue. But at some point we see that the federal government can still find ways around that. I don't know what the contingency for that would be.
Yeah, Marshall Zellinger, thank you.